Creek Hollow. Picturesque, serene. A hidden gem nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering willows. The town, a tapestry of quaint cottages and vibrant foliage, promised tranquility. Emily, seeking solace from the city's clamor, found herself drawn to its charm. A fresh start, a chance to breathe, or so she thought. Beneath the surface, a darkness lingered, a history whispered in hushed tones. Secrets the town seemed desperate to keep buried. The cottage at the edge of town was perfect, cozy, with a fireplace that promised warmth on chilly evenings. Emily felt a sense of peace as she unpacked her belongings. A sense of hope bloomed within her. The scent of fresh paint lingered in the air. The creaking floorboards, a charming quirk, a reminder of the home's history. She was safe here. She could start anew. The town embraced her with open arms, their smiles disarmingly welcoming. Days turned into weeks. Emily settled into a routine, walks through the woods, evenings spent reading by the fire, yet a subtle unease began to creep in. Shadows flickered at the edge of her vision. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. A cold draft, out of place in the summer heat, sent shivers down her spine. Her initial enchantment began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of dread. One evening, as Emily brushed her hair, she caught a glimpse of something in the mirror. It was a routine she had done countless times, but tonight felt different. The air was thick with an unspoken tension. A figure standing behind her, tall and gaunt, its face obscured by darkness. It seemed to loom over her, casting an eerie shadow that sent chills down her spine. Her heart pounded in her chest as she whipped around. The room was silent save for the sound of her own rapid breathing. She scanned the room, her eyes darting to every corner. Empty. A trick of the light, she told herself. But the image lingered in her mind, refusing to be dismissed so easily. She tried to shake off the unease, convincing herself it was just her imagination. But deep down, a seed of fear had been planted. It gnawed at her, growing with each passing moment. She couldn't help but feel that something was terribly wrong. The reflection had felt too real. It was as if the figure had been watching her, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. The thought sent shivers down her spine. Too menacing. The feeling of being watched intensified. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the curtains seemed to amplify her paranoia. She felt eyes on her, even when she was alone. Sleep offered little respite, plagued by unsettling dreams. In her nightmares, the figure was always there, lurking in the shadows, its presence a constant, oppressive weight. She would wake up in a cold sweat. The image of the figure burned into her mind. Emily knew she had to confront her fear. She couldn't let it control her life. But the question remained. Was it all in her head, or was there something more sinister at play? Determined to find answers, she approached the mirror once more. This time, she was ready to face whatever awaited her on the other side. As she stared into the glass, she felt a strange sense of calm. The figure was gone, but the memory of it lingered. She knew that the mirror held secrets, and she was determined to uncover them. Sleep became elusive, haunted by vivid nightmares. Cold sweats and the feeling of unseen eyes watching her every move. Then one night, it escalated. A blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. Books flew from the shelves, crashing against the walls. The distinct sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the house. Emily cowered in fear, her breath catching in her throat. The events were no longer subtle. The haunting had become undeniable. Terror choked her, threatening to consume her sanity. Desperate for answers, Emily sought solace in the town's history. She spent countless hours in the dusty corners of the old library, poring over ancient texts and forgotten manuscripts. Each page she turned seemed to whisper secrets of the past, drawing her deeper into the town's mysterious lore. The librarian, a kind old woman with knowing eyes, hesitated before revealing the truth. Her voice trembled as she spoke of the dark legend that had haunted the town for generations. She handed Emily a worn, leather-bound book, its pages yellowed with age, containing the chilling tale of the vengeful spirit. Legend spoke of a vengeful spirit, bound to the creek that snaked through the valley. The spirit, once a man wronged by the townsfolk, had met a tragic end by the water's edge. His restless soul now wandered the creek, seeking retribution against those who dared to disturb his eternal vigil, a figure that haunted those who dared to reside in the cottage. The cottage, now abandoned and shrouded in mystery, stood as a grim reminder of the spirit's wrath. Many had tried to live there, but all were driven away by the relentless hauntings and eerie occurrences. Armed with this knowledge, Emily returned home, her fear replaced by a chilling certainty. She knew she had to confront the spirit to uncover the truth and put an end to the town's suffering. Her steps were steady, her resolve unshaken, as she made her way through the darkened streets. It was then, by the edge of the creek, that she saw him. The air grew cold, and a dense fog began to roll in, obscuring her vision. But through the mist, she could make out the faint outline of a figure standing by the water's edge, watching her with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. Tall, gaunt, his eyes burning with an eerie glow. The figure seemed to pulsate with a malevolent energy, his presence both terrifying and mesmerizing. Emily felt a strange connection to him, as if their fates were intertwined. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the confrontation that would determine the future of the town and her own destiny. Panic surged through Emily. She had to escape. But the cottage, once her sanctuary, now felt like a prison. The doors slammed shut, refusing to budge. Windows wouldn't open. The phone line went dead. She was trapped, at the mercy of the vengeful spirit. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind amplified her terror. The spirit was toying with her, savoring her fear. Days turned into a blur of terror. Sleepless nights bled into days filled with the chilling presence of the spirit. Emily, driven to the brink, sought answers in the town's archives. Old newspaper clippings spoke of a tragic accident. A young man, unjustly accused, drowned in the creek, his dying screams echoing through the valley. The spirit was real, and he sought retribution. Armed with the knowledge of the spirit's identity and fueled by a desperate hope, Emily devised a plan. She would confront the spirit, acknowledge his suffering, and offer him peace. She would free him from his vengeful torment. But as darkness descended upon Creek Hollow, a storm raged, mirroring the turmoil within the cottage. The townspeople huddled in their homes, fear etched on their faces. No one dared to venture out. No one dared to interfere. The next morning, an eerie silence blanketed Creek Hollow. The village, usually bustling with the sounds of roosters crowing and children playing, was now enveloped in an unsettling stillness. The mist hung low, shrouding the streets in a ghostly veil, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation. The storm had subsided, leaving behind an unsettling calm. The once raging winds and torrential rain had given way to a deceptive tranquility. But Emily was gone, vanished without a trace. Her absence was like a gaping wound in the fabric of the village, a mystery that gnawed at the hearts of those who knew her. The cottage stood empty, her belongings untouched. It was as if time had frozen within those walls. The cozy warmth that once filled the rooms was replaced by a cold, hollow silence. Her favorite book lay open on the table. A cup of tea, now cold, sat beside it, untouched. The only sign of her struggle, a single broken picture frame lying on the floor. The glass was shattered, the photograph within it torn. It was a picture of Emily with her family, a moment of happiness now marred by the mystery of her disappearance. Whispers of the haunting resumed, spreading like wildfire through the town. The villagers gathered in small groups, their voices hushed but urgent. Rumors and speculations filled the air, each more fantastical than the last. Some spoke of old legends of spirits and curses that plagued the land. Some whispered of Emily's bravery, others of her foolishness. They debated whether she had ventured into the forbidden woods, or if she had been taken by something far more sinister. Theories abounded, but answers were scarce. The fear in their eyes was unmistakable, a reflection of the unknown that now loomed over them. But none could deny the palpable sense of dread that lingered in the air. It was a heavy, suffocating presence that seemed to seep into every corner of Creek Hollow. The village, once a haven of peace, was now a place of shadows and secrets. And as the days passed, the mystery of Emily's disappearance only deepened, leaving the villagers to wonder if they would ever uncover the truth. Creek Hollow remained eerily quiet, the cottage at the edge of town, a stark reminder of the darkness that lay beneath the surface. Emily's disappearance remained a mystery, a chilling tale whispered among the townsfolk. The vengeful spirit, still bound to the creek, continued his torment. Creek Hollow, once a haven of peace, became a ghost town, its beauty forever tainted by the haunting of Emily's tale.